I have a question that directly impacts both of your agencies, and it probably should come as no surprise that I am asking it. So last month, the National Telecommunications and Information Administration announced that it has conditionally approved Pennsylvania's final broadband equity access and deployment proposal. We call it BEAD. And the condition that the $700 million hinges on is changing our prevailing wage classification from electric lineman to teledata lineman for the program. For years, I think you know very well that I've been advocating for the Department of Labor and Industry to make this change, and we've heard from industry that maintaining the existing classification will escalate the cost of publicly funded broadband projects by upwards of 40%. So this news from the NTIA shows that the federal government is really watching how every dollar of that BEAD program is going to be spent, and they want to maximize those dollars. $700 million for broadband expansion is the most that this state has ever seen and likely will ever see. And we still have vast areas of this Commonwealth that are complete internet deserts. So at this time, more than ever, I think we owe it to every single person in the state to accept those federal dollars and begin the process of rolling out broadband access to every single home that needs it. So, given that this issue touches each of your agencies, I'm hoping you both might be able to provide us with some insight as to what you and the governor intend to do. We sit on the Pennsylvania Broadband Development Authority, on that board. PBDA, the board, and the General Assembly, we've done everything we need to roll out broadband. We need the governor to accept the new agreement from NTIA. Will you be making the necessary changes and accepting the $700 million in federal money, or will we be sending that money back to the federal government along with the jobs and the connectivity that Pennsylvanians really need?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Senator. And let me start and just respond to a couple pieces. But on the question of the prevailing wage classification rates and things, I'll of course defer to Secretary Walker. Look, I agree with you that our work together, actually, in a bipartisan way on the Broadband Authority has been among the most important, if not the most important of my time here. Like connecting all Pennsylvanians is really important. And as you also know, Senator, but maybe just for the benefit of others, the authority's actually had a lot of success already. In fact, I asked the team to pull some old numbers here. Like in 2022, let's start with 23, when I started in this role, there were 287,600 unserved and underserved locations due to market forces, frankly, I think somewhat unexpectedly but positively, the fact that the federal government through the BEAD program is subsidizing this sort of final locations. Companies have seen fit to start to connect those locations on their own with private capital. That's good. And as you also know, through the Broadband Infrastructure Program, BIP as we affectionately call it, we've already started to connect lots and lots of folks. In fact, by the end of this year, I think we're going to be right around 50,000 new locations connected. So the BEAD part is a much smaller universe than it had been even a year or two ago, which is good, right? It's at 130,000 homes or so. I'm using rough numbers here, and Senator, you know this well. What I will say is, while we, of course, are aware of the conditional approval and the sort of verbal condition that you referred to, we have not yet received specific language or award conditions from the federal government. So it's difficult for me to sort of respond specifically on that point. We're obviously tracking this very closely. And I would just make one final point, and then Secretary Walker can talk about the classification piece, which, as you point out, is not in the purview of the authority itself, which is our part of this. The $711 million refers to specific projects all across the state with different technologies, different providers. You, of course, know this well. Those dollars are booked at the current, that is to say, higher wage rate. So at $711 million, we can connect those 130,000 homes and get to, I think, all our goal, which is zero, right? Zero broadband serviceable locations unconnected here in Pennsylvania. And of course, once we receive this information from the federal government, we'll work quickly to get this done. I mean, our intention, of course, is to connect every Pennsylvanian. That's long been our intention.
I think it's really important. This is $700 million. It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We pay federal taxes, all of our constituents, and to turn down this money because we're not willing to make those changes, I think would be a huge mistake. And according to industry forecasts, we can expect nationwide over 60,000 new jobs. And with Pennsylvania being one of the largest states in terms of those dollars flowing in, we can expect that many of those jobs, that high volume of immediate new construction jobs and also lineman jobs, they'll be coming our way. And I wouldn't want to lose that opportunity either for jobs or connectivity. And so really appreciate getting us to that conclusion. And the other thought is we're not in a position to be subsidizing $700 million into this budget. So I appreciate it very much. I see my time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.